Okay, so um, welcome to Fall 2020 Digital Imaging. I wanted to ask those of you who are here if you've been able to access your textbook. That's a brand new thing. Has anybody looked for their textbook yet?
Yes.
Ha. And were you able to get your hands?
Yep.
Okay, good. What about you, Amanda?
I haven't checked for this class, but it's been working for other classes that I've been in.
Okay.
The textbook thing, yeah. For
Yeah.
the
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other, I mean, you're using it's that Brightwave section on eCampus, the learning materials. Is that where you're finding it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm finding it on Blackboard. Yeah, in learning materials. That's where it's at.
Okay. Cool. Good. How about you, Raimundo? Have you looked yet?
Which one?
Well, in eCampus, and it may be tough to get to it right now in Blackboard Collaborate, but in eCampus, in the menu on the left-hand side, I've created a link for you to learning materials. And in that is going to, there's going to be a link that says your ebook, right? Your for this class. In fact, if it takes you to the Brightwave thing, you'll probably see the thing that says My Shelf, and you'll see all of the textbooks from your courses.
Where is it at? Like, I'm at the menu right now. And
okay, the menu on the left-hand side. It should be in the same section with coursework, or like where the syllabus is.
Yes.
You should see a link that says Learning Materials. Click on that, and then, well, let me see here. Let me double check.
Is it Learning Materials ebook?
Yeah, if you go to, the link under syllabus called Learning Materials, if you click on that, the link to your book should be called Learning Materials Included ebook.
Just ebook or the managed the ebook?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you see a thing that says My Shelf? And does it have Adobe Photoshop 2020 on it?
Yes.
All right. That's your book. Good. I was so worried about you guys being able to access that because it's a new system, and there've been glitches everywhere, but it looks like it may be working for us. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood.
It gave me a free extra book.
Yeah,
I was only supposed to get After Effects and Photoshop books, but I also.
Oh, you got an InDesign book. Great.
Which I already know how to use, but I might as well read through it anyway.
Sure. Free candy. Hey, Max, did you have your hand up, or did you have a question?
Yes. The book, I see the lesson in the chapter is different. Like the chapter 4, you say on Blackboard is layer basic, but the layer is like imaging, editing, background, and basics. It's different.
What did I do here? Well, that's funny. I've got a print copy of the book right here, and chapter 4 says layer basics.
No, it says layer basics for me.
Okay. Max?
Maybe I got a different book.
Maybe. What is the title of the book that you got?
Adobe Photoshop Elements 2020.
Oh, no. Yeah, not Elements. It should be Photoshop. Yeah, I've got that Elements book too, but
this is the
you need to go back to your shelf and see if there's another book there.
Another book is Adobe After Effects.
You have After Effects?
Should be Adobe Photoshop Classroom in a book.
I got Adobe
Yeah, the
Photoshop
cover should look
Elements
like that.
and Adobe
So you
After
only have
Effects.
Elements and After Effects?
Yeah, I only have these two.
Okay, well, that's something to take a look at. So, and let's see, Max, you're an ARTS 2348, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's the discrepancy. Let me ask the rest of you this: were you texted or emailed an access code to get those books,
No,
or did
I
they
was
just
not.
show up?
They just
They
showed
just
up. They were just there. Like, I wasn't given anything.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean that's convenient, but for somebody who doesn't have the book, it could be confusing. So, Max, what I'm going to ask you to do is, like, there's a link there under learning materials. It says learning materials dash included ebook support, and you might let them know that you're supposed to have access to the Adobe Photoshop 2020 Classroom in a Book, and that you're not seeing it, and see if they can't fix that for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Student
So it's
support.
in that same section, learning materials, right next to, you know, like your learning materials ebook. There's an ebook
Okay.
support link there as well. In fact, any of you who don't see what you think you should, hit them up. I imagine there's going to be a few problems to work out. Fortunately for you, Max, you really don't have to worry about it because you've already done these book lessons. So, but I would still contact them and let them know that you're supposed to have access to it because it's the new version of the book, and you've paid for it, so you should have access to it. But it's not a pressing concern for you at the moment. I would be curious to see if the other people in your section are having the same problem though,
Okay.
but none of them are here right now. Well, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. Is anybody else in ARTS 2348, or are you all in ARTC 1302?
1302.
Yeah. I think Amanda and Raimundo are both in 1302 also.
Yeah, I was double checking. Yeah, it's 1302 for me.
Okay.
Okay, I got 13 as well.
Yeah. So we'll see. Maybe when I get to talk to the others in 2348, we'll see if they've got access to their books or not, if they're in the same boat with you, Max. Okay. So good. So some problems with textbooks, but some of you are fine. All right, that's good to know. Now, I wanted to talk to you about subscribing to the Adobe Suite. Does everybody have a subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud?
Well, not yet.
Not
I don't
yet.
either
Okay.
right now.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a critical component to the whole thing. And I realize right now $20 a month is kind of, you can buy a lot of ramen with $20. And I was hoping that the good people at Adobe were going to continue to make it free for college students for a while, but they didn't. So that's kind of needs to be like project number one for you guys is getting your subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. I suppose for this class, you could get away with just subscribing to Photoshop, which is less money, but all you get is Photoshop and pretty much nothing else. If you are doing more than one graphics class, more than one art class, it probably makes more sense to subscribe to the entire Creative Cloud. which for a student is $20 a month, I think, for the first year. And you get a lot for that. Between the textbook and the Creative Cloud subscription, those are kind of the two must-haves for this week, in addition to your introduction, right? Just a couple paragraphs about you and your art experience, your design experience, and a photo. It doesn't have to be a photo of you if you're squeamish about that sort of thing. It could be a photo of your work. All right. All right. So we might as well talk a little bit about again, the fact that I am building content as we go. So I will be, a week, maybe 2 weeks ahead of you guys. And so if you only see the first, 4 weeks of folders, I'm still building content for the next 4 weeks. So I'll put that stuff up as quickly as I can, because I know some of you like to work ahead, and I understand that. But be patient with me, and I'll be patient with you. All right. And so let's. Does anybody have any questions so far? Raimundo.
Yes.
What's your question?
Since I finished the introduction, the orientation exercise thing,
Yes.
which I finished. So what is the next one? It says for week 1.
Right. Well, in week 1, there's that introduction in that discussion forum, like you create a thread in that discussion forum and talk about yourself and put up an image. There's a pre-start survey that I've asked you to complete as well. There's a link to that in the menu on the left-hand side of the interface as well. Just a few questions so I can kind of take the pulse of the class. It's anonymous, by the way, so I can't put your name to your answers. It's just kind of a group thing. And then there's there's a lecture video on layers, and I've asked you to, once you've got the book and once you have the software, you can look at chapter 1 in the book. You don't have to save anything from chapter 1 in the book. You just have to kind of read through it and go through it on your computer in the software in Photoshop. And then lesson 4 is where I want you to jump to next, because it's focused on layers. I think layers are the most important aspect of Photoshop, and learning them should be kind of job number 1. So those are kind of the 2 things in the book that I need you to focus on. I think I have chapter 4 from the book due at the end of the 2nd week, right? Sunday night of the 2nd week. And the book chapters after that we'll go back to chapter 3 and jump to chapter 6, right? We're so kind of doing them out of order, but basically we're doing layers, then selections, and then some more advanced selections that have some channel work and masking in them. And so I'll have video lectures for those things for you next week. And I want you to take a look at the project handout. I know the project is posted in week 2, but I think you should kind of take a sneak peek at it. I've posted a link to some of the previous students' efforts making that first project, as well as a link to the project folder that has the instructions and links to collage artists to kind of get you thinking about it. There's also links to the folder on brainstorming and thumbnail sketching, the creative process, and there's a video there that you can watch that'll help you start to formulate ideas for that first project. I don't tell you what your first project should be about. I'll let you choose the subject matter and the content, But I've got some guidelines. I mean, it's going to be a collage where we practice cutting objects out that we photographed and arranging them into a composition. And hopefully it's a composition and a work of art that communicates an idea, because that's really what we're about here, is visual communication, right? Can you tell me a story through images, right? Okay, so that was more than a mouthful and probably more than you wanted to know, Raimundo. But so the next step for you, do that pre-start survey, and then go take a look inside the week 1 folder, watch the videos, look at the handout, the instructions for the next project, get your book and do book chapters 1 and 4.
Okay.
Kind of your
So
next
the
steps.
video lecture of layers and then the book of chapter 1 and 4. I
Yes.
understand. Okay.
Yes.
So what
There you
about
go.
the project?
Well, the project, you know, if you want to hold off until you maybe do a book chapter or 2, that's fine. Or if you haven't subscribed to Adobe's Creative Cloud yet, and you wanted to take a look at the project and read the instructions and look at some examples, you could do that too.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. All right. I need to jump back to the book for a moment, because some of you may have some trouble finding the files for that book. And I've tried to update the instructions for your learning materials. If you go to the syllabus area, there's like materials that I've put there, and one of them is about the book. There's an ISBN number on your ebook that you need to write down, and you'll and there are instructions in the book itself to get to the website where you download the files, because it's not just a textbook that you read. You read it and you open Photoshop up and you open the files that correspond to each chapter in the book, and you work through, like you're adding things to the file and rearranging things and learning as you go. So you need the files, and the files aren't in the textbook itself. You have to go to a website in order to download them. In fact, let me see. I'll share my screen with you. Oh, I have to allow Google Chrome access to my screen. Oh, and it's telling me that I can't until I quit it. And I can't quit without killing this whole endeavor. So I've done this before. I wonder why it's asking for permission again. Let me see if it'll let me do it. Okay. You guys seeing that at all? Oh, there we go.
There it is.
Hang on. Yes, there it is. So I'm jumping over to show you guys. If you go to the syllabus, I've got a whole section there on digital imaging, like the materials list, and the required textbook here. I've got some links, and I've put your ISBN number for your book here as well. So it tells you down here you'll have to log into Adobe Press's website or PeachPit's website. These are both publishers of the book. And if you click on that link that I've given you here, it'll take you right to that page. And I think it'll automatically put the ISBN number for your book there. And so when you submit, it'll ask you to create an account, and it'll take you to the page where the books that you have access to. Oh, great. There we go. Okay, so it's telling me I've already registered this book. So once you've created an account and registered your book, you'll be able to go to your account and see the books that you have on file with the publisher. And like ours is Adobe Photoshop, but that first tab just shows you what you've bought, and you can, I think you can launch the book from here as well. I don't know if your book will allow you to do that or not, but right here there's a tab called Registered Products, and that's where you find the bonus content, right? And so if I click on that, it takes me here, and I can download the lesson files, right? It's 743 megabyte. It's a zip file, okay? So there you go. That's how you get your hands on the files to work through the chapters in the book, okay? Any questions there? Oops, let me stop sharing. There we go. Did that make any sense? If that didn't make any sense to you, if you just read the first few pages of the book, it'll say, where are the lesson files on a page, and you can follow the instructions to get to the lesson files and download them, okay? Okay. Let's see here. How long have we been at this? About 20 minutes. I have to watch the length of the recordings, because if they get too long, they won't download properly. Does anybody have any questions about resizing images to turn in via eCampus? I've created a couple of handouts that walk you through resizing and resampling images to reduce their size, because, you know, even just like a phone camera these days takes really large JPEG files, and we kind of have to watch those sizes. Like normally I would recommend that everybody shoot thing at high resolution so that it can be printed easily, and you should work at a resolution that's high enough so that you can make a print one day when you need to. So working at resolutions of, you know, at least 150 and upwards of 300 DPI is the normal. But when you go to turn files like that into eCampus, they're ginormous. And so it's important that you read those handouts on reducing the sizes of your files. And like when you're turning in your book lessons, for instance, it's important that you reduce their size and that you compress them. Like I'm asking you guys to use compressed TIFF files, and it saves us a little bit of room. And in fact, I don't want any of your Photoshop files that you're turning in to exceed 25 megabytes. Hopefully, you know, they'll mostly be in that neighborhood. If you create a Photoshop file and it's larger than 25 megabytes, then we'll have to figure out a way to reduce it even farther. One thing, and again, I'll share my screen with you guys one more time here. And I'm going to jump over to Photoshop here. Like for instance, when you're doing your first project from the book, right? It's, you know, if you look at it, it's got several layers, and the file size, which is down here in the lower left corner here, you can see, you know, if it were flattened, it'd be a 2 megabyte file, but with all the layers, it's 36.9 megabytes, which is really big. So here's what you have to do in order to reduce it so you can turn it in. All right, so first thing you want to do is go to the image menu and choose image size. And this should be kind of the first thing that you do with any file in Photoshop, is check the image size. And you know, I've already reduced this to 1,000 pixels. It was a little bit larger than that initially, but you know, whatever the size is, if you're trying to reduce it, first of all, you're going to choose pixels for the unit of measure rather than inches. And then, like, most of the stuff that I'm asking you to turn in is going to be 1,000 pixels or less, whatever the largest dimension is, whether it's the height or the width. Let's say, for the sake of argument, that we were lowering this to 800, right? So I'm reducing the file size here as I do that, right? I have resample on, and I'm reducing the largest pixel dimension. Now, in your case, it will be larger than this initially, and you're going to, you know, change the height to 1,000 pixels, and that'll switch the width to 700 pixels automatically. All right, so that's the first step, is kind of reduce the pixel dimensions to make the file smaller. The next thing that you're going to do is save it as a certain file type. So from the file menu, you choose Save As, and this is for, again, your book chapters. Most of your book chapters, I want you to save them this way, and your projects. Now, sketches and things like that, like the preliminary files for your research for project, those are going to be smaller, and we'll save them as JPEGs. This allows me to see your layers and lets me know that you're actually doing the work. So we're going to save this as a TIFF. So when you do save as, go down here to the format and choose TIFF, because TIFF is one of the few file types that will allow layers. PSD, which is what you normally work in, and the book will ask you to work in PSD format, but PSDs can't be compressed. So we're going to choose TIFF as the format for our book chapters and for our projects when we're turning them in. And I want them to be 1,000 pixels or less when you're turning them in, okay? So I'm going to make sure that layers is on. Remember, this is a whole chapter on layers, so I want to see the layers that you've made. When I click Save, oh, it's telling me that I've already got this saved as this name, but like your book chapters, you'll save as ch4 dot your last name dot your first name dot TIFF. Okay. And here's the TIFF saving dialog box. I want you to choose zip as the image compression, right? And I want you to choose IBM for the byte order, and I want you to choose zip for layer compression as well. And click OK. So, and I'm gonna take a quick look at that in my Finder, see what the size of the file is. Okay, so let's see here. Photoshop, CIB, lessons 4. All right, so I just saved that as a TIFF, right? So I click on it here, and it tells me that it's 15 megabytes. Anybody remember how large it was originally? It was
25?
30,
Oh,
it was
35.
Yeah, it was 36.9 megabytes initially. So saving as a compressed TIFF has really reduced the file size of it. And I still have access to the layers, and I'll be able to see it when you turn it in the homework assignments. Right? So that's kind of the funny thing that we're going to have to do to save our files when we're turning them in this time. So I just thought I would demonstrate that to you guys so you can kind of prepare yourself for that. And I've created a handout that explains it, but you know, I'm you know, admittedly not the greatest communicator in the world via the written word. So sometimes it's easier to see it rather than to read it. But anyway, if you have questions, let me know. And you know, we'll do our best with this first one, and I think we'll eventually all figure it out, and we'll be able to turn files in that have layers, but that are compressed and small enough that we can manage them on eCampus. Okay. All right. There we go. Any questions about that? Was that too convoluted?
Nope. I thought it was great. I understood it.
Yeah, sometimes words and pictures do better than just words alone. Okay, so any questions about this collaborate thing? Right? Again, there's only a few of us who got in today, so my apologies for those of you who are not here who can't hear me right now. But I'm recording this, and I'll create a link so you guys can watch it later. But if you haven't figured this out yet, again, let me over on the right-hand side of this Collaborate interface, lower right corner, you see the little purple arrows pointing out to the right. If you click on that, it expands your options. And one of the things that you can do is share files there. Like you can see who's here in the meeting, right? I see a list of the participants. There's a chat feature there, so you can chat. Nobody's chatted anything. And then you can share your screen or you can share files. So if you guys, like, my plan is to come and talk to you guys every Tuesday at 1:30. You know, some days I'll have information to give you guys, and other days it'll just be like you can share problems with me. You can share your screen, and it's like, oh, I was trying to do this book lesson and this happened, and you can show me, right? You can actually share your screen, or you can share files. Like if you're doing your brainstorming sheet and your thumbnails for your project and you want me to take a look at them and give you some feedback, you can actually save those JPEGs and upload them here and show me on my screen what it is that you're working on and get feedback. All right. So most of the exciting stuff in this Collaborate interface is in that little button in the lower right corner, right? And your settings for your camera and your microphone are there as well. So explore this. In fact, my plan is to leave this classroom open. And so if you've got a classmate and you want to come and meet and talk in this classroom, this course room, I think is what it's called, you can do that. And I haven't even introduced Sam to you. Sam is our lab assistant. We haven't quite figured out the semester yet, but my hope is that I can set aside some time for Sam to be here as a lab assistant. So if I'm not around, you can maybe talk to Sam and get some feedback from her. Because she knows Photoshop. She's good. She can help, you know, tremendously. She's a great artist and technically sound. And so anyway, I want you guys, and I think everybody just has to make sure that they mind their P's and their Q's. If I leave this classroom open and you come and you meet classmates here, that, you know, we've got to make sure that it's all business. You know what I'm saying? So, but I want you to be able to come here and communicate with, you know, images and voice if you need to, okay? So again, the plan is 1:30 on Tuesdays, digital imaging time. Like question answer, some information, sometimes just office hours where you have access to me and can ask questions and solve problems, okay? And that might cut down on some of the email too. Sometimes it's just easier to show up and talk, all right? How we doing? You guys still there?
Yep, doing good.
Yep.
Good. I have this disease when I get into a classroom, I talk too much. I don't give anybody a chance to talk. So here's your chance to talk. Anybody else have any pressing concerns or worries?
Nope.
No pressing
No?
concerns or worries. But the
No pressing
Spotlight
concerns.
show is starting in 3 days, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that's right, the Spotlight Show. Far out. I'm really looking forward to that. When is it? So it goes live in 3 days?
On the 28th.
On the 28th. Groovy. I need to talk to Stephen about that. How's it going, Emily?
It was good. I
Good.
spent a lot of the class feeling like a pretender in a group of artists, but I suppose that's normal.
You know that's not true because I've seen your work. You do great work, Emily. So you have no reason to feel that way. I'm excited to see what you guys have made. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, there's a Spotlight show of artists and designers that the Northlake campus puts on every year, and only a select few are invited to participate. So that's a big deal. Good, Emily. God, it's been so crazy. I've totally forgotten about that. It was kind of on my radar in the middle of the summer, but I'm glad that you reminded me. That's exciting. Something to look forward to.
I
Okay,
forgot
so
that until I got an email from Steven just now.
okay. All right. So Amanda, you're all right?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good.
Get your subscription.
Yes.
Download the files from the book, and get started. Again, I should have more video lectures uploaded hopefully by the end of the day today if eCampus cooperates. And so you have another question, Amanda?
Yes, I do. Is there a deadline from when we should definitely have the Adobe Cloud? Because I'll be able to get it in like 3 more days, just not right now, but in 3 more days for sure.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Amanda. I know a lot of us are kind of waiting for payday to come around.
Yeah. And
Whatever.
Northlake only pays once a month, so.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be fine. The only thing that you have due, like right now, is that introduction.
Okay.
That's it lets me like know a little bit about you, and your classmates can read a little bit about you and see an image that you've made. But it's also there so that I can take attendance. Every instructor has to take attendance, have something turned in that first week so we can take attendance. So the book chapters, the next things that's due, chapter 4, and that's not due until the end of the second week. And even that, given some people's problems, I may have to extend that a bit. So I'll work with you regardless. Okay? But yeah, if it's 3 days, you're going to be all right.
Hey, all right. Just want to make sure. Thank you.
Groovy. So Raimundo, you have a question.
Since I supposed to do the lecture thing. So I was supposed to take notes or?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad idea to take notes. I mean, this is college after all. You want to write things down that you need to remember. Like for a lot of us, just the act of writing it down helps us remember it better.
So the lecture and the book chapters 1 and 4.
You got it. If you'll focus on those things, you're going to be fine. And then the next week, it'll be chapters 3 and 6 that we'll look at. But for right now, 1 and 4, watch the videos, and maybe take a sneak peek at Project 1 when you get a chance.
What about did we turn it in after the videos and the lecture? I mean the video.
Yeah, you're going to turn in the book chapters. Like when you're done working through producing the file for chapter 4, which I just showed you on the screen, that same image is what you're going to create, and then you're going to save it as a TIFF the way that I showed you there, And there are instructions for that. And you will, there will be a link for that assignment to turn it in. And I think below those assignments, I actually say, turn in chapter 4 here. And I'll have a little arrow pointing up to the link. And it'll ask you to attach your files when you go to complete that assignment. All right, so at the end of week 2, you're going to see there will be a link to turn in chapter 4 from the book. But you week 1, it won't be until week 2 that it's due. Okay?
So where is it at? Like, is it in the book or?
File for that
Yeah.
you turn in? Yeah, it's not in the book. You can read the book and it'll tell you where to go on the internet to find those files. But again, let me share my screen again. Maybe I can show you again. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so Raimundo,
Yes.
can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right, so there's a link on the left-hand side here called syllabus. If you click on that, you're going to see this section called Digital Imaging 1 Materials List. And, you know, it talks about the software getting a subscription to the Creative Cloud. You need to go to Adobe's website, adobe.com. In fact, I would just do a Google search. I should have made a link here for you, but do a Google search for Adobe Creative Cloud Student. And it'll take you to Adobe's website, and you should be able to subscribe to the Creative Cloud for the student rate, which is less than the retail rate. But we're talking about the textbook, and that's here, Adobe CC Classroom in a Book. Down here where you can go to Adobe Press's website. Do you see that?
Yes.
And when you click on that, it takes you to their website where you can register your book, right? And I think it automatically puts the ISBN in there for you because I've created a link just for the
I already.
Classroom in a Book. And when you submit that, it's going to ask you to create an account, and which you'll do. You put your email address in, and once you're in, you'll be able to go to your account. Let me show you that. It's going to tell me I've already registered the book. You will have to actually put in your name, etc., and create an account with a password. But once you're in, you'll be able to go to your account and see the books that you have access to. And one of them will be this Adobe Photoshop Classroom in a Book. And you can actually, I think you can launch it and read the book here, but you can also go to this tab called Registered Products. And here's a link, this green link called Access Bonus Content, which actually is just the files for the book. You click on that and you can, right here, you can download those lesson files. And so you would then, once you downloaded them, you'd open up the folder for chapter 4, and you'd be able to open those files that the book is asking you to open and work through them step by step to create the file that you'll turn in at the end of week 2.
Okay.
So you got to download the files as well as have the book, and as well as have the software.
I already registered already, and now I'm.
Oh, you did? Great. Okay, so if you've registered the book, once you get to your purchases, click on this tab called Registered Products, and you can download the bonus content, which is the files that you need to work through for each chapter in the book.
I got it for the lesson
Cool.
files.
Hey man, you're ahead of the game. Excellent.
Okay.
Good for you. All right. So yeah, I know that trips a lot. I got the book, but where's the stuff? Where are the files at? You got to go find them on the interwebs. Okay, Well, I think I'm gonna end it there. We've been at it for a while. Any last minute questions? And Max, again, go contact that support for your book and let them know that you didn't get it. That's kind of important. Again, not that big a deal for you. You're not really pressed for time because you've already done these book lessons, but you still want to have access to that book.
Professor, do I follow the imaging 1 or imaging 2, the project?
Well, actually, like Digital Imaging 2, I've kind of put on hiatus for a while. It's going to take me all that I've got just to get Digital Imaging 1 transferred to an online course this semester. So, but here's the thing, Max. I will give you leeway, right? If the parameters of the project aren't exactly what you're thinking about at the time, you can talk to me about it. Shoot me an email and say, this is what I was thinking about creating, and we can negotiate. Since you've already taken the class, I think that's fair enough. But anybody who's taking it for the first time, I'm going to ask them to stick with the curriculum as it's prescribed. But since you've done this before, I'll negotiate and we can talk about the scope of what it is that you want to create. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'm easy that way. I want you to be creative, and as long as you're using Photoshop in some way, shape, or form to create this, and you can use other, like if you wanted to bring in 3D elements and kind of put them together in Photoshop, I'm all for that.
Yeah. I make a lot of projects.
Yes, yeah. Nobody's going to accuse you of not making enough work, Max. You're a hard worker. That's good.
Thank
So
you.
I'm not worried about it. Okay, but yeah, you can, like for project 1, shoot me an email and let me know what it is that you're thinking about, and we can discuss it. Okay? Cool. Same for you, Emily.
Yep.
If you need some leeway, just talk to me about it. Since you're a more advanced student, that's cool. All right. All right. Any last questions? We good?
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
All right. So, work on your projects. Well, work on the book lessons and getting your hands on the software and making progress there. The only thing due at the end of this week is your introduction. At the end of week 2, you're going to turn in book lesson 4. The end of week 3, you're going to turn in lessons 3 and 6, and you're basically week 3, you're going to turn in your preliminary sketches for your first project. So again, it's a good idea to take a sneak peek at project 1 and start dreaming about what it is you're going to make. Anyway, that's about all I've got today. And the other thing is, let's just plan on Tuesday afternoons, 1:30. For those of you who can make it, I'll be here. All right. And don't forget there are forums there. Like if you have a question for me, or if you want to post a question that you think will benefit all of the students, post it. Like each week there is a problems and solutions folder forum where you can get your questions answered. Okay. And contribute. And I do encourage all of you to go and read about your classmates and these introductions that they're posting up and reply, like act like human beings and actually, communicate with one another. Okay? All right. So there you have it. Thank you for coming, the 4 of you that could make it. 4 out of 20. Anyway.
I got design.
Take care.
Yeah.
You have design tomorrow.
No, I got
Yeah,
design.
design.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have our meeting for Design 1 tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 remote.
Okay.
So see you here tomorrow.
Bye.
All right. Cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody. Work
Right.
hard, have fun, be safe.
You too. Have a good day. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, guys.
See you, Professor.
I'm going to turn this recording off. Oop. There it is.